Question 32, crazy converses. And we're going to do something crazy here. We're going to change it into a matching problem. So for each of these problems below, make up a conditional statement or arrow diagram that meets the stated conditions. You must use a different example each time, and none of your examples can be about math. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to list 4 statements down here. One's going to be an A, one's going to be B, one's going to be C, one's going to be D, and you guys are going to match that up with the questions on the video. So the question on the video is going to have the statement I put here, and you're going to have to say, is it A, B, C, or D? And your option choices are right here, A, B, C, or D. So question number 1 here. If a person is taking geometry, then the person is 10 years old. So first of all, we have to decide, is that a false statement or a true statement? If a person is taking geometry, then the person is 10 years old. You guys are taking geometry. Are you 10 years old? No. So that is a false statement. So it's either going to be C or D. And then the converse of that is going to be, if a person is 10 years old, then they are taking geometry. So when you were 10 years old, did you take geometry? No, that is also false. So D is going to be number 1. Okay? A false statement whose converse is false. Right, go ahead and do the other 3. So if I drink Starbucks every day, then I will be addicted to coffee. If I win the lottery, then I will buy a new car. And if Justin Bieber is elected president, then Justin Bieber would end world hunger. All right, now that you guys have answered the questions, let's go over the answer. So number 2, if I drink Starbucks every day, then I will be addicted to coffee. Okay, that statement, if I drink Starbucks every day, then I'll be addicted to coffee, is a true statement. If you drink it every day, you're going to be addicted to it. Doesn't matter what it is. So let's look at the converse then. So it's either going to be A or B. The converse is, if I am addicted to coffee, then I will drink Starbucks every day. And that is going to be true. So a true statement whose converse is true, number 2. Number 3, if I win the lottery, then I will buy a new car. So if I win the lottery, then I will buy a new car. Do you think that's true or false? Probably more likely that's true. So if you win $1 billion, one of the things you'll probably do is buy a new car. And even if you can't drive yet, you probably will be soon. So having a new car would be nice. So that's a true statement. And then if we look at the converse, if I buy a new car, then I will win the lottery. So if I will buy a new car, then I will win the lottery. And that's highly doubtful that, oh, I'm going to buy a new car, hey, and I'm going to go win the lottery. Okay? So that would be a true statement whose converse is false. And that leaves us with the last one, number 4. If Justin Bieber is elected president, then Justin Bieber would end world hunger. More than likely, if Justin Bieber is elected president, his first action would not be to end world hunger. So that would be a false statement. And the converse, so if Justin Bieber ends world hunger, then Justin Bieber will be elected president. That is true, right? If somebody ends world hunger, hey, then there's a good chance they're going to be elected president as well. So, but first he's got to end world hunger. And that's going to take a lot. So number 4. And question 33, information overload. Raj is solving a problem about 3 triangles. He's trying to find the measure of angle H and the length of HI. Raj summarizes the relationships he has found so far in the diagrams below. So question A, help Raj out. Assuming everything marked in the diagram is true, find the measurement of angle H and the length of HI. Make sure to justify all your claims. Don't make assumptions based on how the diagrams look. So let's look at these triangles, and let's start with what we know, everything that's given. So we know that AB is congruent to DE, which is congruent to GH, because they all have 1 tick mark, so they all must be the same thing. So AB, DE, and GH are all congruent. Let's continue with the sides. We know AC is congruent to DF, which is congruent to GI, because they all have 2 tick marks. And continuing with the side, we know BC is congruent to EF, because they are both 5 centimeters, so we know they're both the same. But notice we do not know if HI is congruent to them. Remember, don't make an assumption just because it looks like it would be. We're not given any information here that it would be congruent. All right, so that's all about the sides. Let's start looking at the angles. We know this one is 60 degrees. Okay. But we don't know anything about angle E or H. There's no information there to tell us those are congruent. So unfortunately, we can't highlight anything else purple. Looking at the next angle, and our last given here, we know angle D is congruent to angle G because of the tick mark. So we can color those green. Angle D and angle G is green, but there's no tick marks in A, so I can't color that one green, at least not yet. All right, so knowing this, we need to figure out the measurement of angle H, and we need to figure out the length of HI. So let's start with the measurement of angle H. Can we figure out what that is? So we know the measurement of angle B is 60. So do we know that H is 60 as well? Well, if these two are congruent triangles, then they have to be the same because we know all the sides are congruent and all the angles are congruent. So is this triangle congruent to that triangle? If we look, all we've got is AB congruent to GH and AC congruent to GI. We don't have any other information between these two triangles. And only two things is not enough to prove they're congruent. But that's where triangle DEF comes in. So do we know that these two triangles are congruent? ABC and triangle DEF. And the answer to that is yes. How do we know these two are congruent? Which congruency theorem? It's going to be side, 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 because we've got a pair of corresponding yellow sides, a pair of corresponding blue sides, and a pair of corresponding orange sides. So that means that if all the sides are congruent and we have congruent triangles, that means the angles also have to be congruent. So if this is a green angle, then this one also has to be a green angle. And we can go further and say that if this is a pink angle, then this one also has to be a pink angle there. So we now have all the sides congruent, all the angles congruent. Actually, one last thing here we can say, that this is going to be a purple angle. So this angle is 60 degrees as well. So because they are congruent, we know all the sides and all the angles are congruent. So now, do we know if this triangle is congruent to that triangle? And the answer is yes. What property says they are congruent? This is going to be side, angle, side. We've got the yellow side right here, the green angle, and then the blue side, the blue side AC and the blue side GI. So now we have congruency. So I know that angle F, or angle B here, is purple and it's 60 degrees. So that means that this angle H also has to be purple. I know that this angle C is pink, and since these are congruent, then this one is also going to be congruent. So I know angle I is congruent to angle C. And last but not least, if these two triangles are congruent, then all the sides have to be congruent. So that is going to be orange as well. So I can start answering my questions now. The measurement of angle H is going to equal 60 degrees. And HI is going to equal 5 centimeters. So we've got the orange. This is 5 centimeters. This is congruent, so that also has to be 5 centimeters. And we want to justify. This one's also asking us to justify using as many arrow diagrams or conditional statements as possible to explain my reasoning. So I'm going to answer both these questions together, and I am going to write a bunch of conditional statements. So the first thing we know when I talked about this was that triangle ABC was congruent to triangle DEF. So actually, I'm going to have you guys write the explanation. See if you can write a good explanation down for me. And then after you're done, go ahead and compare with a neighbor, see if you have the same thing.